this is going to be a quick video to show you how you are going to set up your lab for part 3 of our cell membranes diffusion osmosis lab, and I'll do my best to keep it short. So you folks are going to do something a little bit different than the students here in school, and you are going to be our control or known solutions. You're going to be setting up 6 different dialysis tubings. So these are these dialysis tubings, and right now they don't feel like a tube at all. They just feel like a piece of plastic or something. So we need to get them soaking in some water. So assume that you're in your kitchen and you've got a glass. I'm going to use this as my glass. I'm just going to step over here and fill it with some water. And that's just plain old tap water. And then take all of those pieces of dialysis tubing. I should have given you more than 6. You'll actually just need 6, but go ahead and put all of them into the water. All right, so they're soaking, and they're going to get soft when they're in the water. Then we are going to be making dilutions of your glucose. So you have a container of glucose, which is 1 molar, and we want to dilute that glucose down into the following concentrations. So we are going to have a total of 20 mils of each of the glucose solutions that we're going to put into our dialysis tubing. And then we want to have the glucose at various molar concentrations. So for example, let's say our glucose concentration, I'm saying glucose, this is sucrose. I labeled my little container. This should say sucrose. This is sucrose. In any case, we're going to have 0 molar, we're going to have 0.2 molar, 0.4 molar, 0.6 molar, 0.8 molar, and 1.0 molar. So we need to make dilutions of our sucrose solution in order to get those various concentrations. So we're going to be adding some water together with some of our 1.0 molar sucrose solution. And so for example, one of our tubes is going to have no sucrose at all, so we would add 20 mils of water and none of our sucrose. And if we want to have a 0.2 molar, we would add 16 mils of our water and then 4 mils of our sucrose solution. Then for 0.4, we're going to up our sucrose to 8 mils, and we would have 12 mils of our water. Then we would have 12 mils of our sucrose and only 8 mils of our water. That would give us a 0.6 molar concentration. Then we would have a 16 mils of our sucrose and 4 mils of water. And finally, we would have a tube in which we have all 20 mils of our 1.0 molar concentration and none of our water. So those are the concentrations we need to make. And let me show you then how we're going to make those and put those into our dialysis bags. You have multiple cups. And you can use these for making your dilutions. You are welcome to write on these cups in any way that you want to. So I'm going to take my first cup and I'm going to write water. So that's going to just contain water. And the other one is going to be 1.0 molar sucrose so that I do not mix them up. So I'm going to take the one that says water over to the sink, get some water in it. And then I'm going to pour my sucrose, my 1 molar sucrose, into the other cup. So now I have everything that I'm going to need there for my solutions. Then I have given you a couple of syringes. So here is my 20 ml syringe, here is my 10 ml syringe, and I can use them interchangeably. I just need to be able to rinse them out beforehand if I'm going to go from water to sucrose and back again. So I think what I'm going to do is just try to put these directly into my dialysis tubing rather than try to mix them in a cup. I'm going to see how that goes. I haven't tried it before. So your dialysis tubing has now been soaking in the water. And the way that you work with this is it really needs to absorb the water. So what you do is you take the dialysis tubing and you wiggle it between your fingers. And when you do that, you're going to see that it kind of opens up there at the top. And if you just kind of wiggle it all the way down, the whole thing is going to wiggle open. There it goes. And we want it, this is open at both ends. It's been cut at both ends. So we need to tie a knot into one end to start. So I'm just going to tie a knot into this one end. Voila, there it goes. And the other end is open. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to draw up solution and then use my syringe to directly put it into this container. So my first one would be all water. So I'm going to go ahead and draw up 20 mils of water, and I will put that into my dialysis tube here. So I can see it's open. Fairly carefully put that into the opening, and I'm not going to try to get that in there. Let's see here. There we go. That's better. So kind of hold that against the opening of your syringe, and then push your syringe into your dialysis tubing. You can see it going in. Hopefully you're not spilling any on the outside, like so. And then take your fingers and kind of push the air out of your dialysis tubing like so, and then tie a knot pretty snugly at the other end. Now, if you were in school, we would mass this and it would be ready to go. Because you're at home, you don't have the ability to mass this. Except for Daniel and Ziad, you guys can proceed to mass this right away. So now, those of you who are at home, you're going to take this and you're going to wrap this in saran wrap, plastic wrap, whatever you've got. And that's so that you can keep it separate from the others, and it's also not going to dry out, and you can write on it. So there we go. That's now wrapped in plastic wrap, and you're going to label this. I'm just going to try writing on the saran wrap. So I'm going to put 0 molar on there. You also might have tape left from what I had wrapped around your bucket there. So you could also rip off some of that and write 0 molar right on that as well. And then this is what you're going to be bringing in. You're going to have 6 of these that you'll bring in tomorrow morning by 8:15 or 8:20. We'll mass those and put those in the water. So let's say that you now needed to mix one up. Let's say that we were going to do the 0.4 molar, where we're going to need 12 of water and we're going to need 8 of our sucrose. So you would take another dialysis tube and wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, trying to loosen it up like so. I like to wiggle it all the way down to the bottom so it's all the way loose. Sometimes it takes a little bit. Then I'm going to tie a knot at the bottom. Doesn't really matter which end you call the bottom. Then at the top, so this one I would add 12 of water and 8 of sucrose. So here I'm going to use my 12 water. So I'm going to use my syringe, and when you're using your syringe, you know, if you get any air bubbles in it, you kind of flip it up and then push that air out, and then you can add a little bit more. So you're going to be measuring with what I'll call the bottom width right there is what you want to have lined up on your edge, and so that's at the 12 mark for me. So now I'm just going to add that here, like so. I'm going to push that into my dialysis tubing. So I have just added my 12 mils of water to my dialysis tube. Now I'm going to use my second syringe that is clean, and sucrose to my solution. This will be a little tricky. Got to kind of hold my dialysis tube with one hand, yet still be able to fill my syringe. Oh, it's a new syringe. It's hard to pull. Let's get it loosened up there a little bit. All right, so I'm going to add my 8 mils of sucrose solution. And that means I've got to open up my dialysis tubing here. Stick my syringe in, kind of grab it at the top there so it doesn't spill to the outside. Squirt in my sucrose solution. All right, now I have everything in there that I need. I'm going to push out the air, take it and hold it at the top, put a knot towards the far end, and now this is my 0.4 molar solution. Take a piece of saran wrap, wrap this in the saran wrap just to keep it from dehydrating, keep it separate from the others. Oops, get my marker. And I'm going to try writing right in the saran wrap my 0.4 molar. There it is. Hopefully that won't come off. If I didn't crunch up my tape from my box, I can write 0.4 molar on it, tape it on there. I will now combine this with my first one and the next 4 that I'm going to make, put those into my Ziploc bag, bring those to school by about 8:15 tomorrow morning. We will mask them, then I will take them and third period, put them into their cups of water where they will sit until you arrive about a half hour or so later, and then we will mask them, get our data, and share that with the rest of the class. Hope that's helpful.